Today we're going to look at some more different types of shapes, and the first thing we're going to look at is different types of triangles. There's lots of words you need to try and remember the meanings of, so it's really important that you write some of them down, you pause the video, screenshot if you want, copy any pictures, anything like that, but it's really important you listen really carefully to these words. Look at the first triangle. Can you see anything that we've been doing recently on that triangle? Look at the angles. Do you notice anything about one of the angles? This triangle has a right angle in it, so we can call it a right angle triangle. Look carefully at the spelling of angle. Remember, it ends with L-E. This is a right angle triangle because it has a right angle in it. Remember, a right angle is an angle that is 90 degrees. Look at the next triangle. There's no lines on any of these sides like there is on the third and fourth triangle. This means the triangle has no equal sides. When a triangle has no equal sides, we call it a scalene triangle. This is a scalene triangle because there are no equal sides. Scalene is a word that you need to write down. A scalene triangle has no equal length sides. Look at the next picture. Notice it has a line on all three sides. Can you remember what that means? That means all the sides are equal. Those lines means equal lengths. So all three of those sides are equal. We call that an equilateral triangle. Have a look at the spelling of equilateral. The equal bit isn't quite spelt the same as equal. The word equal has an A in it. So notice the different spelling. Equilateral. Look at the final triangle. The final triangle has two of these lines on it. Remember, those lines mean that those two sides are the same. There's a special name for a triangle that has two sides the same. Isosceles triangle. And this one is a pretty tricky one to spell. I-S-O-S-C-E-L-E-S. Isosceles triangle. They have two equal sides. The word isosceles is from Latin, and it actually means two equal legs. So you can kind of think of this triangle as somebody with two legs, and obviously legs are the same size. So it's a little bit like two equal legs, okay? But in maths, we use that word isosceles to show the triangle. But think isosceles, two equal legs. That's where the word comes from. The first part of your worksheet today asks you to identify some of these triangles. So if you would like to pause the video and do the first section now, having this in front of you will help. You need a note of these words. I know that it's quite hard to draw the triangles, but you do need a note of these words. And remember the definitions, I'll just go through them one more time. A right angled triangle has an angle of 90 degrees in it. A scalene triangle has all three sides that are different. An equilateral triangle has three equal sides. An isosceles triangle has two equal sides. I just also want to point out that if a triangle is right angled, it can actually be isosceles or scalene as well. It can't be equilateral, but this triangle, this first one, this is a right angle triangle and an isosceles triangle because it does have two equal sides, but it also has a right angle. You could say it's a right angle isosceles triangle. And this shape, this is a scalene triangle, but it is also a right angle triangle. So you could say it's a scalene right angle triangle. Remember, you could pause the video now and try the first section of the worksheet if you want. The second part of the worksheet you've got today talks about polygons. Poly means many. A polygon is a many-sided shape. You will have heard the prefix poly in other terms. Polygamous is someone who is in a relationship with more than one person. You also get the word poly in front of lots of scientific terms, like polypeptide and things like that. So knowing that the word poly means many will help you as you go through school. So poly is a prefix that means many. In this case, it means a many-sided shape. There's another word that you need to be aware of, and that's the word regular. A regular polygon is a many-sided shape where all the sides are equal. And if you've got an irregular shape or irregular polygon, this is a many-sided shape where not all the sides are equal. Some of them can be equal, but not all of them. So a regular polygon is when they're all the same. Look at the examples in the bottom. These are regular polygons because all the sides are the same. Remember, a polygon is a many-sided shape, but the sides must be straight. This is a square, which is a regular polygon because all the sides are the same and all the sides are straight. This is a pentagon, a regular pentagon, because all the sides are the same and all the sides are straight. These three pictures, they're all polygons because they're shapes with straight sides, but they're not regular polygons because the sides aren't equal in length. Now look at the non-examples. These are all shapes that are not polygons. This one is not a shape because of these extra bits here. This one is sort of two shapes put together, so it's not a polygon. This one, the lines don't close, so it's not a polygon. This one has a curved side, so does this one. They're not polygons. And this one isn't a shape. It's just two lines, perpendicular lines actually. But none of those are polygons for those reasons I just said. So remember, regular means all the sides are equal length, and polygon is a many-sided shape, but the sides must be straight. Now we're going to look at a range of different polygons. These are the shapes you need to know, and I'm sure that you've seen these shapes before. We have an equilateral triangle. All the sides are the same. We have a regular quadrilateral, has a special name. It's a square. Remember, a four-sided shape is a quadrilateral, but if all the sides are the same, it'll be a square. If the angles are 90 degrees as well. If the angles aren't 90 degrees, it'd be a rhombus. We did that last lesson. The next shape is a pentagon. 5 equal sides. It's a regular pentagon because the sides are equal, but any shape with 5 sides is still a pentagon. You could have a shape that looked like this. That'd still be a pentagon, but it wouldn't be a regular pentagon because the sides aren't the same length. If you see the prefix pent in front of things, usually means that it has 5 sides. The prefix quad means 4 because you have a quad bike that has 4 wheels. The prefix tri means 3, like a tricycle that has 3 wheels. The next one has the prefix hex. So notice the agon is the same because it's a polygon, but we've changed the prefix. The prefix is now hex. Hex means 6. So a hexagon has 6 sides. This is a regular hexagon because the sides are equal. The next one is a heptagon. Hept means 7. You don't tend to come across that one very much, but a heptagon is a 7-sided shape. Again, this is a regular heptagon because all the sides are equal. And I bet you can remember oct. That's like an octopus. That means 8 sides. This is a regular octagon, so there are 8 equal sides. We also have a nonagon, 9 sides. This is a regular nonagon, so 9 equal sides. And we have a decagon. This has 10 sides. Dec means 10. You have a decade, which is 10 years. this is a regular decagon because it has 10 equal sides. These are the types of polygon that you have to remember, and I imagine you've seen most of these before. Try and think really carefully about the prefixes and what those mean, because you'll come across them again. Remember, poly means many, tri is 3, quad is 4, pent is 5, hex is 6, hept, and sometimes you will see this one as septagon. It's the same thing. That means 7, oct means 8, non means 9, and dec means 10. Please go and complete the rest of the worksheet, but you will need to possibly look back at some of these notes to help you. I have an interesting story about the months, though, if you want to carry on listening. Now, you may have noticed that you have oct, which I said was 8, but October is the 10th month. You may have heard that I said dec means, like decade, means 10, but December is the 12th month. Well, that's a bit weird, isn't it? There's a reason for that. The original Roman year had 10 months. It started in March. Now, they still had the time of year that was January and February, but they didn't call it anything because their year worked around agriculture, which is the plants growing and food growing. And in that beginning bit of the year where it's cold, not a lot of that happened. So it just didn't really have a name that time. So they had 10 months where March was the first month. And if you think about it, if March was the first month, October would have been the 8th month and December would have been the 10th month. And that's why they were called October and December. But when the second king of Rome, around 700 BC, was there, he named that period of time that we know as January and February. He gave them the names January and February, and all the other months kind of shifted along a little bit. So originally, we had March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, which was the 8th month, November, December, which was the 10th month. But they had this period of time here. That time was still there. They just didn't really do anything with it because no crops grew. And then it changed. January and February were added in. And then it was January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and that's how we know it. But they were originally named with the prefixes that I've talked about today. So most of the words that you see to do with oct will be 8, des or dec will be 10, and that's where those words came from. Please make sure you do the worksheet and submit it as a photo to me. Thank you. Hopefully see you soon.